I mean, I've played a bit of Dota 2.
I'm gonna pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
So let's check out this Iceberg about it. Of course, throwing in my own entries as well. Color-coded for your convenience. Thank you, Phil2244, for creating this Iceberg. Start with the Herald Tier. Base Hunter DotA, an iconic song that dominated internet culture in the late 2000s. A light-hearted song about playing Dota with friends and asking your mother to please not disturb you.
Get the fuck out of my room and play
DotA!
Free to play. Valve's first and most popular documentary that's free to watch on Steam and YouTube, complete with small SFM animations. It follows the journey of 3 pro players competing in the International. Commonly abbreviated as TI, this is the biggest and most famous Dota and esports tournament. It features a massive prize pool, skits, new hero reveals, and of course the actual games themselves. TrueSight. Popular documentaries featuring behind-the-scenes look at many esports teams and source filmmaker animations of key moments that happened in each TI match. Dragon's Blood. Produced by Studio Mia, Dragon's Blood is the origin story of how Damien became the Dragon Knight. The show includes Mirana, Marcy, Terrorblade, and many other heroes. It has 3 seasons and had received positive reviews from fans. Moving on to the Guardian tier. Artifact, an in-universe Dota 2 card game that's infamous for how hard the game flopped. But then again, it wasn't surprising when you got this reaction. Artifact's main problems were frustrating RNG and a $20 price tag on top of paying for new card packs. It was so unpopular that people were streaming literal movies in the Artifact section on Twitch. Culling Blade counters Shallow Grave. Everyone in Dota can be countered in some way, whether it be through spells, items, or even abilities. One of the most famous examples is Dazzle's Shallow Grave, an ability that prevents a hero going below 1 HP, failing to save an allied hero targeted by Axe's Culling Blade, as it insta-kills a target if they're below a certain HP threshold. Icefrog, lead developer for both Dota 1 and 2, who still to this day has remained completely anonymous. Some theories speculate his name is Abdul Ismail, as this name has appeared multiple times in credits, Reddit posts, and even a court document discussing ownership of the Dota name. Original Techies, for those who know. For those who don't, Old Techies was a nuisance in both pubs and pro matches. And while some players like Sir Action Slack found a use for him, he was too confusing for most players and got a rework in patch 7.31. For a full display case of Old Techies, watch this video. Fountain Hook, a feature that was exploited heavily by Na'Vi in a round 3 elimination match against Tong Fu at TI3. To pull this off, you needed Chen and Pudge. Chen would cast Test of Faith, an ability that when cast on an ally would send them back to the fountain after a small delay. On Pudge, Pudge would hook a target, and because Hook was programmed to pull the target to Pudge's current location, the enemy would be pulled all the way back to the fountain for an easy kill. Na'Vi ended up winning that game, but it was considered a controversial strat at the time.
You need to get them to remove that from the game. That was the biggest joke I've ever seen. Who had that game? Is that balanced?
This exploit/feature was patched out a month later. Stacking boots, a common noob mistake of buying 2 boots under the impressions that you need 2 boots for both feet. And as the short states, most of us made this mistake at one point. Crystal Maiden and Lena are sisters. Self-explanatory piece of lore and the most widely known. They're also rivals. Silence and Meatmerp. Commonly heard sound effects that play when you try to cast an ability when silenced. Silence. And when you try to right-click a building you can't access yet. I've always imagined the silent sound effect was said from a portal turret. Silence. Jungler role. Just like in League of Legends, Dota 2 also had a jungler role. Gained popularity with the introduction of the Iron Talon, but due to its low win rate and very few heroes that could actually do well in the jungle, the role was slowly phased out of the game. 322. A pro player by the name of Alexei Solo Berezin bet $100 against his own team of Rock's Kiss and threw the match against Z-Rage during the 6th season of the Star Ladder Star series. He ended up getting a $322 payout. It's now a meme often said when someone is throwing or losing their advantage. Doom is Satan, sort of self-explanatory. He's called Lucifer in his lore, and he rules all 7 layers of hell. Useless skills. These are skills that do nothing by themselves. Some examples include Earthshaker's Aftershock at level 1, Lena's Fiery Spirit at level 1, and Luna's ult with no points in Lucent Beam. Kunkka/Tidehunter rivalry, another well-known rivalry in lore. Kunkka hates Tidehunter for destroying his ships, and Tidehunter hates Kunkka for reasons lost to time. The fate of Kunkka, however, is unknown, and we'll discuss this later in the Iceberg. Dota 2 song parodies. These gained popularity somewhere around the mid-2010s. Notable artists included HLGF, Pyrion Flax, and Fwosh. Clockwork is not a robot. While he actually was a robot in Dota 1, he's just a goblin inside an Iron Man-like suit. A keen in a can, if you will. He even has a voice line referring to his older version.
Bleep bloop, I am a robot. Yeah, just kidding.
Now for some bonus entries. Axe Willy Wonka reference. Here's a silly little entry. Curb stomping heroes with Culling Blade would give a 30% chance to trigger these voice lines.
You get nothing! Good day, sir! I said good day, sir!
It's pretty obvious that this is a Willy Wonka reference, but classic enough to include. The Dota 2 Reporter. Made by Raunchy Animations, this is Dota 2's most popular fan project. It follows the adventures of Nigel, checking out the many gameplay mechanics and heroes of the Dota 2 game. It's so popular that Arkwarden has a voice line referencing the show. This show is no longer active, and to those who are hoping it would come back,
you will just have to accept this and move on.
Moving on to the Crusader Tier. Shrines. These mini fountains were placed in both Radiant and Dire's main jungle, and would do a decent heal to all allies in the area when it was activated. They were phased out, however, as they had both mixed results and opinions, and people would accidentally activate them all the time. I'm guilty of doing this. Tusk/Bristleback rivalry. Here's another known rivalry. During Bristleback's shift out of security at a bar, he gets a bit tipsy and slurs, "Your tusks offend me, sir," to Tusk. A fight breaks out, and Tusk is the victor. Bristleback has been wanting a rematch ever since, and Tusk will never turn down the chance for a fight. There's even voice lines referencing this event.
I've been waiting to do that. You had it coming, Tusk. Let's put our differences behind us. What do you say?
A rematch with me was a bad idea. We should spar when this is over.
Model glitches. Dota 2's replay feature is notoriously buggy and led to some hilarious glitches of heroes missing mounts, weapons, and hair most of the time. Shopkeeper's Quiz. During the TI Compendium events, this quiz tested your knowledge on item builds and was a way to pass the time while you were queuing for a game, and was available on the Dota 2 website after the event was over. While the official game is gone, someone on Reddit has recreated it. Buying the Courier. In addition to buying wards, dust, and smoke, supports also had to buy the Courier and its upgrade that made it fly. Also, you only had one Courier that everyone had to share. Yeah, there were many moments I remember where people were fighting over whose item could be delivered first. This was fixed in 2019 and was an amazing quality of life improvement. Ability draft combos. Some abilities, when combined with others, are completely broken. Combos like Sticky Napalm and Shackles, Overpower and Impetus, Frostbite and Cold Feet, Rearm and Death Ward. Honestly, the list goes on and on and on. These BS combos are the reason I avoid playing this mode. Rubik/Morphling coding. Both Spell Steal and Replicate are a coding nightmare for Valve every time a new hero is introduced, and the coding of these two heroes always cause some nasty bug to surface, but they're usually patched out pretty quickly. Blizzard lawsuit. When Dota 2 was in development, Blizzard filed a lawsuit to protect its IP, since Dota 1 was originally a Warcraft 3 mod. The lawsuit reached a settlement, with Valve keeping the name Dota 2 so long as they don't use any Blizzard copyrighted material. As a result, Sentinel and Scourge were changed to Radiant and Dire. Heroes also had their names changed, but we'll talk about that later. Level 1 Roche, an old strat where heroes were chosen specifically for killing Roshan at level 1. Most comps ran Urza, Nature's Prophet, and Vengeful Spirit. However, this wasn't a viable strat, and most of the time it failed horribly.
Normally.
What you just heard is the most popular caster voice line in Dota history, said by Filipino casters Lon and Duno during ESL 1. The line roughly translates to walk strongly, normal hit, normal hit. But that clip was also responsible for some of my all-time favorite caster lines.
Easiest money of my life! The next label play.
However, caster Duno, real name Aldrin Paulo Pangan, passed away in 2021 due to complications with COVID. Lakad Matatag, Aldrin. Unique attack modifiers. A removed mechanic where certain items or empowered auto attacks would have unique attack modifiers, and these did not stack with one another, meaning if you had armor piercing from Desolator, you couldn't get slow from Skadi, or Anti-Mage's mana break not stacking with Diffusal's mana break. You could still get lifesteal buffs, however. DotA Underlords. This was Dota's official auto chess game mode, made during the hype of the auto chess craze, and was later abandoned when the game mode no longer became popular. Chinese TI Curse, the now broken curse where the winner of TI would alternate between Western teams and Chinese teams each year. It ended with OG breaking the curse in TI8. Moving on to the Archon Tier. Valve game references. From TF2 to Counter-Strike, there's a lot of references to Valve games in Dota 2. There's Cave Johnson and GLaDOS announcer packs, IO's Arcana, Undying talks about Left 4 Dead 2 a lot, Sniper uses TF2 sniper lines, Techies has Counter-Strike lines, and hell, Tinker is a walking Half-Life reference, but we'll talk about him later. Blink Dagger extra cast range, something I didn't know before researching this video. If cast outside its max range, you'll blink a shorter distance than the max range, but if you cast it at the very edge of the cast range, you'll blink to where you cast it at. You can find this out by holding Alt over Blink Dagger. Old Steam Avatar team combinations. Before the Dota 2 Reborn patch, team loadouts looked like this. Some groups took advantage of how this loadout was structured and created some masterpieces like these. Beautiful. OD's name changes. This hero had an abnormal amount of name changes throughout his Dota 2 lifetime. He was first called Obsidian Destroyer, then Outworld Destroyer, then Outworld Devourer, then Outworld Destroyer again, and then Outworld Demolisher briefly, then back to Outworld Destroyer. This led to many meme names like Outhouse Decorator or Outsourced Developer. As a nod to this, OD's innate ability name now constantly changes to different names each time it's shown in his loadout screen. Moretta's lore comic references Artifact. Moretta got her guns and abilities by beating death in a game of Artifact, making the joke that Artifact is a dead game. Gold, XP, CDR, and respawn time talents. During the 7.00 update, a lot of heroes were given abilities that affected their gold per minute, XP per minute, cooldowns, and even reduced respawn times. The community saw these abilities as broken, and these abilities were slowly phased out over the next couple of months. Reworked hero models. Some heroes had older, different-looking models that were replaced with the ones we know today. Most notable examples are Slardar, Shadow Fiend, Puck, Lion, and even Skeleton King got a full rework to Wraith King. However, there are some other models that could really use a rework of their own. Rubik is Aghanim's son, another well-known piece of lore. When buying Scepter, Rubik has these voice lines.
Father's masterpiece. It's been so long since I held this.
His mother remains a mystery though. Chinese hero models. Due to Chinese censorship laws, multiple heroes and ability icons had to be changed. All Art of Blood was replaced with black goo, and heroes with skulls had to be masked up. Although I will admit the masked versions of these heroes look pretty cool. Pendragon controversy, an infamous moment in the Dota 1 community where Pendragon, a Dota All-Stars developer, shut down the whole Dota All-Stars website and replaced it with a League of Legends advertisement. Needless to say, the community was not happy with this. The website was restored, but not before Pendragon, allegedly, stole some Dota hero concepts and put them in League of Legends like Rammus and Teemo. RTZ Cliffing / Cliff TZ. Player RTZ from EG has a nasty habit of getting isolated on cliffs during pro games by other players, usually by way of Darkseer's Vacuum, Keeper of the Light's Blinding Light, or even Magnus's Skewer. It is now meme used when someone gets cliffed in pro games. Hell, Wraith King's Arcana even mentions this when you kill Darkseer.
I know the perfect place for this one.
Volvo / GIF Dietide. Dietide is Dota 2's annual Halloween event released in 2012, but when Halloween came and went in 2013, there was no Dietide event. This caused the fan base to spam the comment, "Give Dietide." Players were spamming this on Volvo's Facebook page for some reason, and the company joined in, requesting Valve to bring back Diatide. They eventually got the update around the end of November. Moving on to the Legend Tier. Any hero can play any role. This refers to the flexibility of most, if not all, characters in Dota 2. Given the right circumstances, anyone can mid, carry, or even support. But let's be honest, I don't think we're going to see any POS 5 Centaur War Runners anytime soon. Inconsistent root mechanics. The root mechanic will behave differently depending on who cast it. For instance, Crystal Maiden and Treant's root spells also disarm you, but roots from Naga or Underlord won't do that. Spectre is Phantom Assassin from the Future Theory. This theory by Sir Action Slacks proposes that after PA took the contract from Oracle to kill all threats to him in all universes, she slowly loses her mind and forgets who she was in a previous life, becoming a Spectre. This Lorgasm video goes into more detail if you're curious. Keeper of the Light committed genocide against Night Stalker's race. When Keeper of the Light brought the first dawn, Night Stalker's people were driven to near extinction due to such a powerful force. The hero Night Stalker is now the last of his race because of this. Radiant/Dire hero allegiances. Just like in Dota 1, heroes used to have assigned sides for lore reasons. This picture shows who belonged to which side. I would take this with a grain of salt because Earthshaker is the only confirmed Dire hero and is shown being on the Radiant side. Rebind BKB and recipes. Black King Bar's duration goes down the more times you use it. Rebuying this item, refresh that duration timer. Also, rebuying an item with charges would reset back to max charges. It has since been patched out. Chilling Touch debuffing allies. Chilling Touch behaved differently back in the day. It would instead grant allied auto attacks increased magical damage at the cost of reduced attack speed. Giant hero models. Items like BKB and Giant's Ring, and abilities like Ogre Magi's Bloodlust and Undying's Flesh Golem grows your player model. Given the right combo of items and spells, your hero model can grow to an ungodly size. Io 0-point turn rate. Io was the only hero with a 0-point turn rate because, well, he's a ball of light. He didn't need one. The fact Valve gave him one is quite bizarre to me. Forced 50%. A certain belief among ranked players stating that Valve's matchmaking algorithm is rigged to give you a 50% win rate. This isn't just a Dota 2 thing, however. This belief is present in all modern-day competitive games. Now, this is completely BS when you're on a winning streak, but 100% true when you're on a losing streak. The 4 fundamental heroes are based on quantum mechanics, a really cool concept where the 4 fundamental heroes, Enigma, Io, Chaos Knight, and Keeper of the Light, are based off gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear interaction, and the weak nuclear interaction in that order. Heroes of New Earth. The original idea of this MOBA was to be a port of many Dota 1 heroes given a new look, new feel, or with a new engine. Was mostly played by Dota 1 fans while waiting for Dota 2 and ended up shutting down its servers in 2022, but is still playable thanks to community support. Chain Frost on Ancient Camps. An exploit where Lich's ultimate could be used to bounce Chain Frost on ancient creeps indefinitely thanks to Lich's old Scepter ability. Because Ancients had magic immunity, Lich players would stack multiple Chain Frosts on ancient camps, and enemies would just get deleted as soon as they go near the camp. Some people could counter this with Blade Mail though, which led to this Lich player getting frustrated. To be honest, he could have just dropped Scepter and ruined the strat. Anyway, as usual, it was patched out. Moving on to the Ancient Tier. Gaben's favorite hero. According to the Iceberg, it's Sand King, but I believe his new favorite hero is Weaver now. Viper was Pugna's pet. This is due to Viper's backstory about being the familiar to a Netherreach's wizard, and Pugna has a voice line confirming this.
Ah, Viper, my erstwhile pet.
Arc Warden isn't ancient. Arc Warden came from the same primordial mind that created Radiant and Dire. While these two shards can't stop fighting one another, Arc Warden wishes to unify the primordial shards once again to achieve what he calls perfect unity. Monkey King changed voice actor. Did you know that Monkey King was supposed to be voiced by Matt Mercer? You can hear him in the reveal trailer, but was changed to Bill Millsap because Matt didn't sound mischievous enough. Ancient Apparition is entropy. Ancient Apparition's law is about how over time everything will freeze over at the end of the universe and he will become all-powerful. This is a reference to the heat death of the universe theory. Lion's ult tries to turn the target inside out. I'm actually surprised this is as low down as it is. Do people not read spell descriptions anymore? Regardless, this is self-explanatory if you read what the spell does. Monkey King / Broodmother romance. In Monkey King's release comic, he and Broodmother have an exchange that alludes to the fact they were once lovers and are now bitter exes. Monkey King also has multiple voice lines referencing this.
It's over between us, Arachnia!
Would it kill you to walk around like how we first met?
Headshot / MKB mini-stun. Both Sniper's Headshot and Monkey King Bar used to have the chance to mini-stun you on hit. Combine these two things together and it's about as fun as it sounds. Ugh, as if Sniper wasn't annoying enough. Renamed heroes. Continuing from the Blizzard lawsuit entry, all Warcraft 3 heroes had to be renamed. For example, Lich was originally Kel'Thuzad, Beastmaster was Rexxar, Witch Doctor was Vol'jin, Windranger was Alaria Windrunner, Skeleton King was King Leoric, and the list just goes on and on and on. Legion Commander gender swap. Legion Commander in Dota 1 was a male but became a female in Dota 2. Reason for this is Dota 1 Legion Commander raided a village and a girl came up to him and challenged him to a duel. She won and became the new Legion Commander. Shiva Ravage. Dota 2 caster and analyst Shiva was playing Tidehunter on Sing Sing's stream, and from that stream spawned a clip of a Ravage hitting absolutely no one.
No! Fuck! There was nobody there anymore? Oh, there's one.
This term is now a meme when someone's Ravage hits nobody. The Great Confluence. Apart from this being something Void Spirit won't shut up about, it's an event that will occur after the War of the Ancients. No one knows what will happen when this event triggers, but some people theorize it's the end of the world, a new big bad reveal, or all realities collide with one another. For more info on this topic, watch this video. Camp stacking exploits. Some heroes could stack camps indefinitely. Darkseer could vacuum camps up a cliff, have it stack, then rinse and repeat. Other abilities like Torrent also worked, raising camps high enough that stacking occurred. Once again, these have since been patched out. Chen controlling Roshan. Yeah, this is about as broken as it sounds. However, this was only possible through holy persuasion bugs and exploits. Now for some bonus entries. Canon romance between heroes. Monkey King and Broodmother aren't the only ones to have past history between them. Another X-romance is between Juggernaut and Templar Assassin, Dawnbreaker and Mars, and the most famous example is Skywrath Mage and Vengeful Spirit being in a tragic romance, although this gets resolved in Crownfall. Tower trick. This is referring to the fact that towers have 700 attack range but only 600 night vision, so during the pre-game you can walk up to the edge of the tower and see if it attacks. If it does, there's a sentry ward somewhere to deward. Which side you're attacked is where the ward has been placed. Ranked medals are based off items. All ranked medals are based off in-game items. Herald is based off the Tango, Guardian is the Buckler, Crusader is the Ring of Aquila, Archon is Yule's Scepter, Legend is BKB, Ancient is Manta, Divine is Rapier, and Immortal is the Aegis. Moving on to the Divine Tier. The Shopkeeper's Pact. To prevent thieves from stealing items that can give you godlike abilities, Shopkeepers made a pact with all of the gods in the Dota 2 universe that if anyone steals or harms a shopkeeper, the wrath of all gods will be brought down upon that person. If you want an example of someone suffering from this, look no further than Roshan is a Smeevil. Roshan kinda looks like a mutated Smeevil, having the same body shape, horns, arms, the works. As for his appearance, Roshan started out as a shopkeeper's assistant, and his shopkeeper was tasked with safeguarding the Aegis of the Immortal for a worthy hero. Roshan ended up killing his shopkeeper to steal the Aegis, but the gods were not happy the pact was broken and punished Roshan by forever locking him to a Tarn, well, 2 Tarns now, to be killed over and over again for his Aegis. But hey, Roshan got his wish of being immortal, right? The Dire, however, saw an opportunity in Roshan and infused him with his power, thus turning him into the monstrosity we know today. Ricky was here. On Treant Protector's default model, you can see Ricky was here carved into his back. Cheeky devil. toss buyback glitch. This was a bug that, if you were tossed by Tiny, killed in midair, and buyed back before your corpse hit the ground, you would spawn at the toss location instead of the fountain. This actually took a while for this to be patched out, but this isn't the only toss glitch we'll talk about. Late game visual bugs. If a Dota 2 game took longer than 60 minutes, visual glitches would occur, like radiant or dire particle effects showing up out of nowhere. I'm surprised this was a thing at all, as Dota games can go for a long time. Hero teasers in promotional images. Valve likes to hide new heroes in promotional images. Some examples are Winter Wyvern teased in the Forcier's Contract Day 2 page, Arc Warden hidden in the new Bloom Day 3 page, Nyx Assassin was in Disruptor's splash art, and Ringmaster's ticket is in the New Frontiers update. Legion Commander is racist. I mean, Dota 1 Legion Commander was definitely racist. Dota 2's version, however, is more distrustful of the other races, as highlighted by these voice lines when killing a non-human hero.
Never trust a demon. Never trust a tree. Never trust an engineer. Never trust the dead. Never trust a... What are you?
Brewmaster Elemental Damage. Brewmaster's Cinder Brew could be set on fire if the target splashed by this ability was followed up with a fire spell. While a cool concept, it was later changed that any spell could ignite the brew debuff. Shitty Wizard. An inside joke at Valve where all of the bugs in Dota 2 are caused by one shitty wizard. This wizard got a name and model called Dolfrat, and it said that senior programmer Adrian Finnell was the inspiration for him. Also, all heroes have the line Shitty and Crummy Wizard, the Mad Moon. Growing tired of the conflict Radiant and Dire was waging, Arc Warden forced them both into a celestial body known as the Mad Moon and flung them into deep space, finally achieving perfect harmony. Eventually, this moon started orbiting Earth, the Ancients broke free and made Earth their new home. Invoker's real name is Karl. Well, technically his name is Kale, but a Chinese mistranslation called him Karl, and Icefrog thought it was so funny he canonized the name. Invoker even calls himself this in some voice lines.
Throughout the eons, I have been known by many names, but my true name of power is Karl.
Hell, even Undying and Mirana call him this name.
Karl? Is that you?
Karl? Meet Sagan.
Even Queen of Pain's Arcana calls him this name.
Check out the big brain on Karl.
Pocket Ricky, a meme post about an Ag's idea for Ricky where he'd go into a free slot in your inventory and give you his stats. He could also be sold for gold or consumed for health. Ricky's current Ags pays homage to this post. Tinker is Dota's version of a Black Mesa scientist. Pretty self-explanatory if you read his lore. The Violet Plateau incident is the same as the Resonance Cascade. His suit is the same color scheme as a HEV suit. Hell, he's even voiced by Dr. Kleiner's voice actor, Oskavosh, the official language of the demons. All demons have voice lines in Oskavosh with the exception of Queen of Pain, Underlord, and Warlock's Golem. Legion Commander's Arcana has lines in Oskavosh, however. Better yet, it's translatable. All demon lines have been translated on the wiki. Different planes/realms. There's a ton of different places in the Dota 2 universe that different heroes come from. There's the Blue Heart Glacier, the Seven Plains of Hell, the Narrow Maze, Closurine. You know what? Here's the full list of every place. Anti-Mage/Terrorblade Brothers. These two were actually brothers in Dota 1, but that's not the case in Dota 2. It was planned to happen as Anti-Mage has unused voice lines about Terrorblade, but this idea was cut for some unknown reason.
Hello, brother. The bonds of brotherhood severed. Vile fratricide.
Now for some bonus entries. Finnell pause. In TI3, during the match of Alliance versus IG, Adrian Finnell accidentally paused the game mid-match due to a wrong button press. He panicked and unpaused immediately after. This led to a formal apology and made changes so this doesn't happen again. Ugh, crummy wizard. Blink Dagger/Skullbasher ban. Back in Dota 2's infancy, Pudge and Vengeful Spirit were not allowed to buy Blink Daggers due to balance reasons, as they already had built-in position manipulation abilities with Pudge's Hook and Vengeful Spirit's Nether Swap. Also, all heroes with an inbuilt bash ability was unable to purchase Skullbasher. Cliff Hook free pathing. When Pudge was finally allowed to buy a Blink Dagger in patch 6.79, heroes that were hooked onto impassable terrain were granted 5 seconds of unobstructed movement. This was used as an anti-griefing measure, but was was wildly inconsistent. It was patched out in patch 7.07. Moving on to the Immortal Tier. Keeper of the Light is a pervert. Keeper of the Light has a voice line for most female characters complimenting their beauty. However, I don't think this makes him a pervert, he just seems to have a flirtatious personality. Personally, I think he's called a pervert because he's old. Troll Warlord's lore is about internet trolls. Pretty much what it says on the tin. They love to argue, live with their mothers even past their age of maturity, and contribute nothing to society. Sven is half fish. Sven's lore states that he's the bastard child of a Vigil Knight and Moranth. Moranth are fish people like Slada or Naga Siren. This isn't too much of a secret, as during the Siltbreaker event, the final boss calls out Sven's fishy heritage.
Why fight for them, half-blood? I can unlock your true power.
Bane Blink Dagger response. There's a 1% chance to get this voice line when Bane buys Blink Dagger.
Blink Dagger!
Dazzle inverted ability colors. In the Nothal realm, the properties of light and dark are inverted. With that being said, inverting Dazzle's spell color show a more traditional healing color of green. Was this an intentional design choice or pure coincidence? You be the judge. Undying loves gummy vitamins. There's unused voice lines where Undying says how much he loves vitamin gummies.
I need gummy vitamins. What I like about them is they're chewy and they have a berry taste. Gummy, which a lot like the gummy worms you get in Halloween. This is different, though it's healthy.
Missed opportunity to use these during a Dietide update. Invoker has, wait, what? How many spells? So it turns out in Dota 1, not only did the amount of orbs you had matter, but so did the order you pressed your Q, W, and E did as well. This means that Exhort Wex Exhort was not the same as Exhort Wex, giving him 17 extra spells. Man, Invoker was hard enough to play with 10 spells, let alone 27. Kunkka is dead? It's still unsure whether Kunkka actually survived the encounter with Tidehunter that destroyed his fleet. I personally believe he's a ghost because he has this cool water magic, and he can also summon a ghost version of his crashed ship at will. Slaza's Way. Remember when I said any hero can play any role? Well, YouTuber Slaza put that theory to the test with his highly unorthodox Dota 2 builds like offlane anti-mage, sniper rush satanic, but his most famous is Faceless Void support, using his chronosphere to pause team fights and heal his allies. He's still active to this day, and I'd love to see him do my Centaur Warrunner Pos 5 idea. Rushing Scepter might be a good starting point. Placeholder ability icons. While working on the final art for abilities, these placeholder artworks were used instead, and they're actually quite funny. These are a couple of my favorites. Removed heroes. Not all heroes from Dota 1 made it to Dota 2 because they were either unbalanced, removed from the game, or just a meme. The Gambler is the most famous example. He's a hero relying mostly on gold-related talents and RNG that made him too hard to balance. Dotaology has a full series on removed heroes if you're interested. Bananas dropping from trees. Valve added a small chance for bananas to fall from a tree in custom cheat-enabled lobbies to tease the release of Monkey King. Also, Monkey King's disguise ability has a small chance to turn into a banana. Chen is evil. Chen uses magical brainwashing to convert neutral creeps to follow his every command and even force them to kill their own relatives. But wait, Enchantress does this too. Does that mean she's also evil? Item name references. Most item names came from Dota 1 developer names, mythology, or pop culture. Some examples are Yule's Scepter being named after the Dota 1 map creator Yule. The formerly named Ginso's Scythe of Vice was named after Dota All-Stars creator Ginso. Mjolnir being from Norse mythology, Heart of Tarask coming from a dragon in French mythology, and Armlet being from Lovecraftian mythos. Moving the Ancient. An old Dota 2 bug where Earthshaker's Fissure and Faceless Void's Chronosphere could move Ancients and even their own fountain. You could replace Earthshaker with Clockwork's Cogs or Nature Prophet's Sprouts as well. Now for some bonus entries. hero name origins. Just like the items, all of Dota 1's character names had their origins in pop culture, mythology, religion, or Blizzard games. Examples are King Leoric and Butcher are characters in the Diablo series, Leshrac and Morphling are Magic the Gathering characters, and Abaddon and Akasha are from Christianity and Hinduism respectively. Hero blood pools. Dota 2 used to be a much bloodier game. During the olden days of Dota 2, every time a hero died, a blood pool would form around them, but this would be removed in the future update. Extra damage types. In addition to physical, magical, and pure damage, pre-patch 6.82, composite and universal damage also existed. Both damage types pierced spell immunity and were affected by magic resistance, with composite damage also being affected by armor. They were cut out to fit with the standard 3 damages. Moving on to the rank 1000 tier. Riki Deathward. On top of having permanent invisibility, Riki's ult in Dota 1 was a more dangerous version of Witch Doctor's ultimate. That's not broken at all, no, not in the slightest. Crystal Maiden is a psycho. Don't let her beautiful looks deceive you. Crystal Maiden is referred to as a dead-eyed lunatic. This is because in her comic with Winter Wyvern, she acts very unhinged and psychotic. You can also see this side of her in the more recent Crownfall event, but this psycho behavior isn't reflected in her in-game character. Earthshaker is fused with Dota 1 Earthshaker in his Arcana. Earthshaker's Arcana lore states that he is fused with a fragment of himself from another world, retaining their memories and experience. He also holds this totem the same way Dota 1's Earthshaker did as well. Void Spirit is Templar Assassin's master. This began as a theory and was confirmed when Void Spirit was added to the game in patch 7.23. This is because Templar Assassin had some added voice lines referring to Void Spirit as her master. Destroying the Fountain. While difficult, certain heroes with the right builds could destroy the enemy fountain. Some people have done this in pubs, leading to some very frustrating encounters, especially if the team was more interested in spawn killing than actually ending the game. And in 2023, there was now a patched glitch that allowed the Dota 2 fountain to be destroyed as well. Vengeful Spirit throwing herself as a projectile, another self-explanatory one. Dota 1's Vengeful Spirit threw her own model as a projectile. And recently, since patch 7.36, this feature came back with the Soul Strike facet, how Clarity Potions are made. Turns out Clarity Potions are just Crystal Maiden's bathwater. I told you she was a psycho. Corpse mechanic. Some heroes in Dota 1 had abilities that interacted with corpses. This was somewhat transferred to Dota 2 as the neutral creep troll summoner would only summon skeletons if there were corpses near him. This is no longer the case. Slark is a virgin. When Slark is killed, one of his voice lines is,
"But I hadn't spawned yet."
Spawning is the official word for fish mating, so this implies Slark really needs to get a girlfriend. Sans Undertale reference. There is an item in the Silt Breaker event called Oblivion's Locket with the flavor text, a skeleton's charm, used to prevent having a bad time. This is a reference to the Sans boss fight in Undertale. The locket also looks like Sans Gaster Blaster. Faceless Void's Arcana also references this in one of his voice lines.
You're going to have a bad time.
You play as the Ancients. Radiant and Dire use mind control to force heroes to fight for them. This theory states that since you're controlling the hero's actions, you're playing as the Ancients. This also explains why some heroes have voice lines stating that their actions are not their own. I mean, why else do all heroes respond to move commands like they're following someone's will? No spell strat. In 2016, Purge and his teammates concocted a meme strat of baiting the enemy to pick Rubik, then taking heroes with passive abilities and never leveling up their spells so Rubik would be worse off. Surprisingly, this strat actually worked and they won. Heroes that want to die. Canonically, there are heroes who actually want to die. Some heroes are Oracle, Death Prophet, and one could argue that Undying fits this list. PGG Black Hole. PGG is a Russian analyst infamous for his Enigma ults. His ults went either one of two ways, 5-man black hole or no-man black hole. Now for some bonus entries. Eon of Strife, the one that started it all. This was a StarCraft Brood War map made by Gunner Forever and is considered to be the very first MOBA to ever exist. It was so popular, its map and gameplay inspired the creation of Dota 1. The map had 3 lanes you fight in, faction-controlled heroes, photon cannons were the towers, and the Nexus was the Ancient. All of Dota 1's core mechanics can be traced back to this game map. Item duplication glitch. More of a recent bug, but using the Packrat facet, Meepo can fill up his item slots with branches, buy Mantis style, put it in his neutral item slot, then disconnect and have another player activate Mantis style. This caused 2 copies of this item to drop, and this can be done with any item in the game. Thankfully, it was quickly patched out. Moving on to the rank 100 tier. Biggest oversight copypaster reference. When you kill Dark Willow with Ogre Magi's Arcana, you can hear him say this line.
Did you hear what they say about her?
Yeesh, some people.
This is a reference to a not suitable for work copypasta describing how attracted OP is to Dark Willow. I'm not going to read the copypasta here, but I'll leave a link to it in the description. Every Dota match is canon. That's right, every hero combination, cosmetic, and match result is canon. Do you remember that time your sniper mid started feeding because he dies twice to a gank left after 20 deaths, resulting in the enemy Pudge becoming unkillable, then all of your team leaves only you to die and die and die again? Yeah, that's a canon event. Rant aside, this is because both Ancients rewind time just before one Ancient is defeated. This is because they want to destroy each other at the same time. Why, you may ask? I'll explain in a couple of entries. The river's name. This entry contains a slur, and while I will be saying that word, just know that this is for educational purposes and this word doesn't reflect my personal views. With that being said, a Reddit user posted on the Dota subreddit if the river had a name, and while the community gave some funny answers, one user stated it was the river fag, because he was told multiple times don't cross the river fag. Interestingly enough, the Dota 1 river had an actual name. It was the Faran River. This is because Dota 1's map was set in Ashenvale in the Warcraft universe. Necrophos's voice glitch. Sometimes Necrophos's voice would be incredibly low-pitched and slowed down. This is because due to a typo in the code, it caused the Necro's voice to play at 10% pitch instead of the desired 110% pitch they were trying to achieve. This is because they wanted Necro's voice to be more distinct from Warlock's voice. It's fixed now. Dota 1 is canon to Dota 2. Referring back to Earthshaker's Arcana, the theory goes that there was an actual victor in the Dota 1 game. We don't know which side won though. And in both Ancients' weakened state, Arc Warden swooped in, shoved them inside the Man Moon, and sent them to space. When the Ancients broke out, they knew if they did this again, Arc Warden would just shove both into a moon again. So they both agreed to rewind time over and over again until they can be destroyed at the same time. As a result, Dota 2 is set on a completely different planet. Terrorblade is an anti-hero. While on the surface, Terrorblade definitely looks evil, he's actually quite a moral character. He actively hunts down demons and those he deems self-righteous and false gods.
The self-righteous shall choke on their sanctimony. Down with false prophets.
He also states that Enchantress is his best friend.
I'm every demon's worst nightmare, but I'm your best friend.
However, he does like to make fun of Timbersaw.
Hey, Timbersaw, look out, a tree. Timbersaw, please shut up about the trees. Seriously, you need help.
Which ties in nicely to the next entry on this iceberg. Timbersaw has PTSD and isn't crazy. Once again, I'm surprised this is as far down on the list as it is. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you read his lore. Regardless, Timbersaw's lore states that his whole town was destroyed in a treant attack, leveling his hometown. With him being the only survivor, he developed both a phobia of trees and a sawsuit ready to cut his way out of his hometown. While some may find this silly, Dota 2's universe do have trees that come to life and attack people, so this is a rational fear to have. Useless item. A joke item in Dota 1 that when bought gave no effects and you couldn't sell it or drop it from your inventory. The flavor text also taunts you for being silly enough to buy it. It has since been removed. Yule Scepter Mandela effect. There are a lot of posts on the Dota 2 subreddit claiming they remember a time when Yule Scepter could be cast on allies. This was before Wind Waker got added, but there is no proof of this ever being the case. The community's best guess as to why this was happening is because the Heroes of New Earth counterpart Storm Spirit, not to be confused with Dota 2 Storm Spirit, could be cast on allies and people are misremembering games and items. Cancel Dota RPG. Axe was going to be in a planned Dota 2 RPG inspired by games like Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls, and Monster Hunter. It never ended up seeing the light of day though. Now for some bonus entries. Multiple versions of Dota 1. While Dota All-Stars is the most popular version of Dota 1, it wasn't the only version. Many other Dota variants existed before them, like Dota Thirst for Gamma, TFT Ancient's Defense, Dota Unforgiven, and Dota Outland were some of the few games that existed before All-Stars took over in popularity. The Death Bounty. This is the canonical explanation as to why you get gold upon every last hit. Put into effect by the Stonehall Empire, the Death Bounty states that gold will only be rewarded to those who strike the killing blow. A coterie, in this case the shopkeepers, will tally and divide payment upon death of a foe, and any fellow man may duel to the death if a dispute over payment is raised. Moving on to the final layer, the Rank 1 tier. Toss plus avalanche bonus damage originated as a glitch. Turns out the extra damage you get when tossing someone into an avalanche wasn't an intended feature, and this was due to a bug in the Dota 1 code that was never patched out. This mistake wasn't imported to Dota 2, but this move was so iconic to Tiny, fans requested they put it back. And that, kids, is how a bug got turned into a feature. There's more to this, but we'll discuss that in a bonus entry. Arrested Development bot names. Many of the default bots you play against have names from the TV show Arrested Development. These names are Maybe, Tobias, Lupe, Job, Marta, and Kitty. Hoodwink's ability art references fan-made hero Danko the Dolphin. Danko the Dolphin was a fan-made hero made by We Play Esports and had a whole announcement trailer made for him. Hoodwink's ability art is almost identical to Danko's art that many fans claim this wasn't a coincidence, but Valve has never given an official statement on this even to this day, so it stays a fan mystery. Peon, oh boy. With a crude name and even cruder spells, Long Dong Silver is a secret character that required you to go on a secret quest to unlock him. Then he spawns at the bottom of the map and you play as him for the rest of the game. He was introduced in Dota All-Stars' first ever patch, version 0.60, and only lasted about 50 days, being removed in version 3.2. And in version 4.0, this place was later taken over by Roshan. Go check out the Dotaology video for a full breakdown of this quirky hero. I'll get to the last entry in just a second, but first I want to focus on some bonus entries. Dota mechanic originated from exploits. It turns out that a lot of core Dota mechanics like denying, stacking, pulling and blocking camps, creep and tower aggro, and animation cancelling were all unintended bugs in Dota 1. For example, denying was a leftover mechanic from Warcraft 3. Neutral camps only checked if there was units in the camp and respawned them if it was empty, and pulling the lane worked thanks to creep's program to attack the nearest non-friendly creature. And the developers found it easier to just accept these bugs instead of fixing them. Block of cheese. When you combine the cheese with 3 greater healing lotuses, which is 18 lotuses total, you get the block of cheese item, which when consumed grants 3000 HP, 2000 mana, and a 500 HP shield that regenerates 100 HP per second that lasts for 5 minutes. You can even keep it on death, but damage from enemies will pause the effect for 5 seconds. Dota 1 secret quest/item. After completing a long-winded quest of hunting for invisible frozen frogs, summoning different heroes and killing them, it would grant an unnamed secret item that grants max speed, spell immunity, and 100% critical damage chance. Now, Dota 1 is no stranger to hidden quests and items. This is just the most famous example, and this item was removed in patch 6.49b. And for the final entry in this iceberg, Dota 2 Flash Game. In 2013, this fan-made Flash game was posted to Reddit, and it's all about trying to help your POS 1 anti-mage rush Battle Fury. Includes characters called Ice Lady, Hydralisk, and Windrunner. It's actually Lena. Also, this game was made by Mitzies, the same person responsible for the Helltakers soundtrack. Also, there is absolutely zero footage of this game on YouTube. You know, while it's not the kind of content I'd normally post, I could upload a no commentary playthrough of this game since I found the Flash file. That is, of course, if people are interested. Did I miss anything in this iceberg? Let me know in the comments below. More icebergs to come, so be sure to stick around and subscribe for more. The Violet Plateau.